is so wonderful to see all of you here today to share in this wonderful journey for the students, and congratulations to the teams who've made it to the grand final. So you've heard my name, William Lai. I am a member of this fraternity, the Victorian Bar, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the bar and on behalf of the organizing committee to this wonderful event. I also want to just acknowledge my sister Silk, Sachi Maharaj KC, and my learned friends, colleagues at the bar, and most importantly, but not least, with my learned friends and my sister Silk is our wonderful sponsor for tonight. Verge Legal, represented by partner Newton Han, and Ashley Ngion is also here on behalf of the firm. So thank you very much to our sponsor. Without you, we would not have had this wonderful event this year, supporting future advocates who are here today. So please give them a round of applause if you can. You are seated in the Neil McPhee QC room. Neil McPhee was a great barrister, a Queen's Counsel. When he passed away in 1998, he was one of the leading eminent Queen's Counsel in Australia, and a lot of people had the privilege to be his junior. I did not, and I'm not sure whether my sister Silk Sachi has worked with Neil McPhee, but he is well known, and this room is named after him in his honor. This room is the part of the education room for baby barristers, and I can see not just my current students, but my former students, and some of whom are at the Victorian Bar. So well done. This building was built in 1961, and one of the things that I'm passionate about regarding this particular move, which I piloted last year successfully, so thankfully, we opened it up to involve other universities. And I'm grateful for representatives from the University of Melbourne, La Trobe University and RMIT for participating, and of course, Monash University. Victoria University also participated, but they had to pull out. So it's incumbent on all of you students to spread the word so that next year we'll have an even bigger competition. And the reason for it is that you cannot be what you cannot see. That's a famous saying from an American children's rights activist, Miriam Wright Edelman. She's well over 80 years old now. And she said you can't be what you cannot see, because she was one of the first lawyer black lawyer in the United States. And there was just no one like her around. So when you see us here at this podium, I can tell you now that there's probably only half a dozen senior counsel or King's Counsel as we are now known, and probably no more than, I think less than 100, maybe 50 to 60 or 70 barristers of Asian Australian background. And diversity is lacking, and one of the things that I want to see, not that diversity is not important, like diversity, equity, inclusion, these are important attributes that we support. And we would appreciate the fact that there are more and more lawyers to be, like those of you here today, who want to be in this profession, so that you can see on the bench, up here in the podium, that it's all possible. Because the first barrister of Chinese descent, his name is called William Arquette, A-H-K-E-T. He was born in 1876, and he came to this fraternity in 1904. He was a graduate of University of Melbourne, and you can imagine in his day, there was no diversity. First, there was no one that looked like him, and second, everyone is like him, male. There was no female barristers. The first female barrister was Joan Rosenoff, who joined him at the bar in 1923. And William Arquette died 13 years after Joan Rosenoff came to this fraternity. So imagine, this building was built in 1961. And so walking among the corridors with other barristers, and there were not many, there were just a few hundred in those days, you can imagine the lack of seeing people of the same background as he was, no other gender. So today is a marked difference. And we're here to celebrate those successes. We're here to demonstrate to each of you that you can be what you are now able to see, advocates of all different sorts and background and views. And we would encourage all those here today who want to be in this wonderful profession of ours to remember that you can be. And I'm so proud of the participants in this moot who have given up a lot of time, sweat, too much caffeine, no doubt, sleepless nights to participate, not just in one moot, but in several. So parents who are here watching your own children perform, remember they're doing it, you might be wondering why they're stuck in the room all night long and never come out. Because they are really like online, not chatting away, but preparing for what ultimately would be a profession that they would enter into. So I am really privileged to be part of this moot, and I hope you can grow from strength to strength. And I leave the participants with this. You can only get better regardless of the result. And some of you would have heard me say you're only as good as your last performance, your last moot, your last success, or your last loss. And we as barristers are part of the administration of justice. We are here to assist the bench to come to a right decision in often a very difficult case. And ultimately, it's not about your own desires or goals. You've got to help the bench come to the right decision. So without any further ado, I will pass my podium back to the organizers. But before I do, I just want to thank personally Joel Law, Jessica Wan, Alexander Zing, who are here as part of the organizing committee, and all the others as well. Without the support of the Dean, Professor Stephen Vaughan of Monash University, this event is also not possible. So finally, to all my learned friends who have agreed to spend Friday with us, I'm personally grateful and thankful that you have seen it important enough to contribute this way to the learning of our future advocates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, William, for those very inspiring remarks. So this isn't the first time that I've stood here. It's very inspiring to be back here in this very room. In 2023, I had the privilege of participating in the Victorian Bar's Equality and Diversity Moot in 2023. And this was the very room where my grand final against Latrobe, actually. So it's a very full circle moment, if you will. And so I thank everyone for showing up today. And now we would like to invite the brilliant Miss Ashley Ngion from our sponsor firm to make her address.
Thank you. I mean, if I get started into this, just want to build on and continue on from what William was saying about diversity in our industry, because it really that really resonated with me, because in addition to my civilian practice, private practice as a public administrative lawyer, I'm also in the ADF as a military lawyer in the reserves. When I first joined up in the ADF 7 years ago, I was the only female lawyer in Victoria, right? We're just not just talking about from an Asian background. Only female lawyer in the whole of Victoria. And it's been good to see that in the years since then, we've had more female lawyers join us, and now the cohort has grown to, I've got another female junior, which is good. 2, not a lot, but better than none in the past. So yes, our industry has been growing, has been broadening, and I think diversity only helps us because it brings us greater experience and allows us to help and to understand our clients even more, just so that we are able to advocate for their position better. Because that's what we do. We present their cases, and if we don't understand our clients, how are we supposed to do that? No? But yes, back to the sponsor speech. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also pay my respects to their elders past and present. Now, having been on a few committees myself, I understand the amount of work that goes into organizing anything, much less a multi-stage, virtual and online competition like the Victorian law firm would. I mean, just dealing with logistics, organizing people, making sure they show up where they're supposed to show up and when they're supposed to show up, it can sometimes be the stuff of nightmares. So to do it all, in addition to studying and working and attempting to have a social life, kudos to the organizing team. So Joelle, Jessica, Prudence, Alexander, Midri, and Serena, you guys did a great job. You should be rightfully proud of yourselves. Of course, we also can't forget the judges. Time out from their busy days to judge this round, especially on a Friday night. So please join me in thanking all of them. I think it's fair to say that people have the impression that lawyers love to argue, and that's why we become lawyers, right? But I don't think that's exactly right. I don't think I like to argue, but my wife might disagree. What I do think though is that the practice of the law attracts people who want to make a difference, people who want to have a meaningful impact on society. People who want to achieve outcomes. It just so happens that arguing, negotiating, compromising, and communicating is just a part and parcel of the process of doing so. I don't think it's so much that lawyers love to argue, it's more that to be a good lawyer, you must have an opinion. Not just any random opinion, though, opinion that's backed up by research, by logic, and by reasoning, because that's how we win arguments, right? I like to think that a good lawyer should ideally have their own view on difficult issues. They should have their own positions on arguments and on issues that are in dispute. Because at the end of the day, lawyers are advocates for our clients. We represent the interests of our clients, and it's our job to convey our client's position to the best of our ability, right? We don't argue for the sake of arguing. We argue for a purpose. We present our submissions, and we present our client's position. Advocacy is such an important skill for legal practitioners, be it in writing or orally. I mean, a good lawyer has to be an effective communicator. You can't get around it. You have to communicate with clients, you have to communicate with subject matter experts, with colleagues, with counsel, and with decision makers. Advocacy is not just about oral communication. That's really only the tip of the iceberg that you see. The written submissions that underpin the oral arguments can be just or even more important, right? As you would have experienced in this mooting competition, solicitors and counsel have to work together as a single unit, as a team. A competent instructor is just as important as a good counsel. So for the participants who might have found yourselves gravitating more towards instructing than appearing, know that you're just as essential to the advocacy process as the counsels who are arguing the case. So, I mean, here at Verge Legal, we have a wide range of practice areas: litigation, criminal, family, migration, property, commercial, business law, or pretty much everything. Each of our partners have their own areas of expertise, and we work together to complement each other's practices, and that's what makes it makes us work well. We have clients from diverse cultures, Australians, New Zealanders, Southeast Asians, East Asians, South Asians, Americans, with different backgrounds, English, non-English speaking, English as second language, LGBTIQ+, it's just never a boring day at the office. We advocate for clients who might not have the voice or the ability to speak for themselves. And I like to think that is what gives our work meaning. Like I said, I primarily practice in public administrative law, so migration, military administrative matters. I do most of my advocacy in writing. That doesn't mean that I don't have to go to court. Doesn't mean that I don't have to appear on behalf of clients because I do. I have to. So cases would be like, for instance, had a case at the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, now known as the Administrative Review Tribunal, which involved me having to make written and oral submissions on why a same-sex couple should be granted a partner visa for the applicant to live in Australia with his partner. As part of my submissions, I had to conduct research into military conscription laws of South Korea, also about legal issues affecting LGBTIQ+ individuals in Australia and South Korea. From memory, I think my written submission package was about 100 pages. That was then followed by oral submissions in a half-day hearing. I was victorious, by the way, so that was good because that was a lot of effort. So I mean, yes, advocacy permeates through all areas of law. It's a skill that must be actively practiced. Some describe advocacy as an art, and I don't disagree. I find that the most impactful pieces of advocacy usually contain elements of creativity, personality, and in many ways, it's an individualized expression of the advocate themselves. The work that is produced, that is unique to the individual, that is what makes it meaningful. So my advice would be, make it a habit to do, not just to learn. And that is why mooting and advocacy competitions are so valuable and so rewarding, because it gives you this opportunity to develop and showcase the essential skills of advocacy, legal research and reasoning, and teamwork, which all lawyers need to have. Yes, you will feel the stress and pressure because you want to do a good work, you want to do a good job, but you get to make mistakes. You get to learn what you can do better, and you get to improve to be better in a safe yet realistic environment. So I sat in on one round myself as a judge, and the quality that I've observed was frankly quite impressive. Such experiences can only build your confidence better, and now you know what to expect when you have your first real world case, right? So I mean, on behalf of Verge Legal, we are proud to sponsor this Victorian law firm moot competition. It is our honor to contribute towards the development of the next generation of Australian lawyers, and yeah, we look forward to the grand final. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ngion, for your kind words and exceptionally inspiring address. Now we will move on into introducing the impressive bench of judges that we have for tonight's grand final. Presiding over tonight's grand final bench in the middle is Ms. Sashi Maharaj, KC, a nationally renowned silk who practices from Bowen Dixon West Chambers. She has a broad federal and state practice with an exceptional record across public law, administrative law, constitutional law, taxation, migration, insolvency, and has appeared in over 100 full court appeals in the federal court and numerous cases before the state Supreme Courts and the High Court of Australia, including landmark matters such as Alcatab and Godwin. She has also served as senior counsel for the Commonwealth in major law enforcement litigation and holds even a top secret security clearance. We are deeply honored to have someone like her presiding over tonight's grand final. Mr. Newton Han, all the way at the other end of the bench there, is the managing partner of our sponsor firm Verge Legal, and he has extensive experience representing both national and multinational corporations as well as private clients in a wide range of matters, including civil, commercial, litigation, employment, fair work, intellectual property disputes. And his courtroom practice spans the federal court, Supreme Court, County Court, and VCAT, and has led numerous complex cases that would have set precedent in superior courts. In addition to all of that, Mr. Han regularly advises on major commercial transactions, corporate restructuring, and cross-border investments. We are deeply honored and also grateful for his continued support of this year's competition as well. Next to Mr. Han is the inimitable Mr. David Kim, who is a barrister, arbitrator, and nationally accredited mediator who practices from Foley's List. Mr. Kim has a broad commercial litigation and alternative dispute resolution practice and has appeared in matters across all Victorian courts as well as in interstate and international jurisdictions. Prior to coming to the bar, Mr. Kim worked in the litigation and dispute resolution team at DLA Phillips Fox, now known as DLA Piper Australia. He is also a sessional member of the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal, where he has presided over tons of contract, consumer, and building disputes. He also holds a Master of Laws from the University of Melbourne, and he now lectures in private international law and international commercial arbitration, which makes him a brilliant addition for the bench this evening. On this end, we have Ms. Jessie Xie, who is a barrister at the Victorian Bar, practicing from Parnell's List. Before coming to the bar, Ms. Xie served as a solicitor with the Northern Territory Legal Aid Commission and spent several years as an associate to His Honour Judge Trapnell at the County Court of Victoria. She has worked across both the criminal and commercial divisions, and has also lectured and tutored in advocacy at the University of Melbourne, and is simultaneously, on top of all of that, the developer of the award-winning VLA Case Helper application, which won the 2017 Slater and Gordon Best Law App Prize. We're delighted to welcome you to tonight's bench. And finally, we have the amazing Ms. Zaina Al-Halabi, who is a barrister at the Victorian Bar, practicing from Brian Burke's chamber. Ms. Al-Halabi accepts briefs in all areas of criminal and quasi-criminal law. Before she came to the bar, she was an associate as well to His Honour Judge Tiwana in the County Court's Criminal Division, where she basically had an extensive range of experiences across jury trials, pleas, and appeals. She has also volunteered with the Springvale Monash Legal Service and Youth Law, where she assists vulnerable clients in summary crime matters. Beyond her practice, Ms. Al-Halabi is also active in legal education, like many of our judges on the panel tonight. She's a sessional academic, actually, at both Monash and Deakin, and she also serves on the Victorian Bar's Human Rights and Student Engagement Committees. We are very pleased to have her, and also the entire bench of impressive judges helping us out tonight and giving brilliant advice and feedback later on as well to our participants. So without further ado, I'll hand over the time to the presiding judge of the bench, Ms. Sashi, to take the appearances from the team. So team 2 will be the applicant for tonight, and team 6 will be the respondent or defendant.
Thank you very much.